We're here at the Riga Gaming Conference where I've been finding out all about eSports, fantasy football and how casinos can develop and add technology. Also, Jessica's here.
And with the fast-growing world of blockchain, I've been taking a look at how it's reshaping the online gambling industry. So Jack, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready too, so let's go find out.
You've worked in every aspect of a casino from the floor all the way up. What's your personal opinion of the future of casinos in general? What do you expect to see?
Well, I expect them to become more and more technological over time. I think that every casino will need to have presence on both the online and the virtual and the mobile sphere. And of course, they will have to provide a much better social experience. Just taking advantage of the customers, using asymmetrical information to make business out of them, just will not make the cut anymore.
So Aleksandra, today you were speaking about the online gaming industry and the fact there's a new market for blockchain. So why is there this new market now?
So actually we are working on, we are just trying to connect blockchain technology with online gambling. And we are creating a market where you don't need to use third party to communicate with different parts of gaming industry.
And from your speech, it was really interesting. There was a specific focus on Ethereum.
Yeah.
So what role does Ethereum specifically play in this?
So we use smart contracts, and these smart contracts allows you to put all the game logic into the Ethereum blockchain, because now everybody use blockchain like an alternative payment. And we use blockchain to put all game logic and online gambling to the Ethereum blockchain.
Let's start off with the draft side of fantasy football coming over from the US. Why do you think it's taken so long for that format to come over to Europe, and where do you see that format going?
Well, I think it has taken so long because, well, it's a very Americanized concept, you know, and people in Europe, any sports, you know, in America has this draft format, especially professional sports, and we don't have it at all in Europe, especially in football. It has coming now because people are trying to find different ways of playing fantasy. They realize that the old-fashioned way of playing, creating your team at the beginning of the year in August and waiting for the results at the end of May, it's not fun, because people just stop playing after a few weeks, after a few days sometimes, if you have some major player being hurt. So I think it's a part of the new trends of fantasy sports arriving in Europe. I mean, it's been here for already 4 years, but you see many ways of playing it differently, more interactive, quicker, so it doesn't take 5 hours for you to create your team, and then you stop playing after just a few days.
So we got this rise in esports and how popular it is now, and match fixing has been a problem for many, many years. But how do you combat fixing in esports? Is it easier or harder?
So to fix is easier because it's like a duel, so it's one against one. So it's almost easier when you think that the money price for eSport, they are not so high. I was making the comparison between salary of a football player that maybe thinks 10 times before to fix a match, and the price for a eSports duel. So it will be easier to combat this. In my mind, it will be easy and easier if we are able to react immediately. It's so easy to understand when an esports match is fixed. We have already cases in Korea, we have cases in Russia a couple of weeks ago, and what we have to do is to react what they have to do, because the federation, normally they use protocols, memorandum of understanding, that they are beautiful, empty words and no real measure to eradicate this kind of problem.
The benefit of obviously cryptocurrencies is its immediate transaction and the minimal costs which are typically associated with banks and payment services. So yeah, exciting times for blockchain, exciting times for cryptos. And in Malta, I know for a fact we're we're going probably to be one of the first to embrace all this technology on the casino front. You know, the multi-gaming authority, the government, everyone looks upbeat to embrace this technology as fast as they can. There's two big benefits. One, it's imminent, so you don't have to wait, typically you wait a couple of days for payments to go through, sometimes even longer, but with cryptocurrencies, it's immediate. So big benefits once there's a proper framework with which to work with.
Thing that really stuck out that would just jump onto really quickly was this advertising idea, which is brilliant, at airport on the baggage reclaim as like a roulette, which I just thought was fantastic. Can you explain to us a little bit about how that idea came about?
But finally, the starting point was really scientific in terms of marketing, because I used to be in that moment the CEO of Casino di Venezia, the oldest in the world, because casino started in Venice in 1638. But still, the feeling was that we were a little bit missing international clients. And so the really creative idea was to change this awful industrial thing, grey and absolutely probably the most awful thing in an airport, as the most beautiful. So we have created like a roulette with all the numbers, all the colors, branded Casino di Venezia with this new brand. And it was the best way to communicate that Venezia is also the town of the first casino ever. And we increased the number of visitors from this, let's say, international market, also because the belt was positioned exactly for international arrivals. It was not only an advertisement, because we also invented the possibility that if a luggage could be on the number on the roulette and the number were shown by an assistant, if you really could take that number, you can have a gift from the casino.
I really enjoyed your speech. Had a fellow Englishman up there with the good old British sense of humour to liven everyone up first off.
Thank you. Well, you've got to wake people up in the morning.
And yeah, one thing I wanted that really stuck out for me in the talk was this graph you showed comparing UK and Latvia and the amount of people online. And there seemed to be a really small percentage here in Latvia, and you said something funny must be going on there. What can places like Latvia do to kind of combat this?
Well, when you see a market structure like that was, where 7% of the gambling industry revenue is online, and we're in 2017, and you know that Latvia has fantastic internet access and everyone has a smartphone, it says to me that everyone is gambling online with other people, i.e. non-regulated operators from outside Latvia. And I think that's due to the fact that Latvia has decided if you want to be a gambling operator in Latvia, you have to have a 1.4 million euro share issued capital company, which if you're a big casino operator is not a problem, but if you're an online gambling operator, that's a big issue, especially when you're talking about a country of 1.3 million people, which is less than the city of Birmingham. So it makes a lot more sense for online gambling companies in the world to target Latvia illegally than do it legally. Now, I would have thought that the Latvian government could remove that limit, allow people to get licenses, and then they would get a massive increase in the amount of tax they raise from these now legal online gambling companies.
Gaming is now experiencing the new solutions for the problems that they have kind of forever, right? So now I see that gaming is adopting Bitcoin, but it is still kind of on the level of the Wild West. How to start, right? Because for them, Bitcoin, they don't really understand, do I need to somehow install Bitcoin on my casino or something like this? So just explain that it is just a simple API, right? Like with any payment method in the world, they can just complete the KYC, sign the contract, and connect to the API, and it will be just a normal payment method that they already use. Nothing to be afraid of. All the risks are usually on the provider. That's the whole magic.
So are there going to be certain countries where it's more difficult for them to implement this than others? We've spoken about the fact that it is kind of a worldwide beneficial, that it does speed things up for everyone involved, but are there certain countries that may find it more difficult to implement this?
Online gaming is used to be international. So when you speak about country limitations, it's mostly about limitations where players of the casino have difficulties to buy Bitcoin. So of course in the countries which are really under the radar and which kind of a bit blocked, like Angola, I don't know, of course it's harder to buy Bitcoin there because nobody is willing to sell Bitcoin for this Angolan money. But if we speak about more civilized world, let's say Europe, right, South Africa, Latin America, Asia, buying Bitcoin there is completely no problem. So if casino accepts Bitcoin as the payment method, then they pretty much have the whole world covered.
And in regards to fraudulent activity, is that something that poses a bigger risk with the rise of blockchain and cryptocurrencies being used on gaming platforms?
Happy to say that industry is going in the more legal direction, so there is not much space for fraud in Bitcoin left there.
And if you had to summarize one main positive feature of the blockchain being used on online gaming, what would it be?
Just finally normal payment method.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.